everything in the last 2 weeks, everything was about the voice, the voice, the voice, the voice, the voice. You go to the shop, talks the voice, the voice. You switch on to the channel 7, channel 9, channel the ABC, the SBS. It is the voice, the voice, the voice, the voice. So, and crocodile tears from everyone, from Albanese, from the Greens, from everyone. They are shedding tears about the indigenous people and their suffering, as if this suffering is happening recently, or if the voice will relieve a single indigenous person. And here the voice, which nobody is telling us what is the voice, because Albanese until now they are not telling us what is the voice, how the voice will be working, how the voice members will be elected, what is the jurisdiction and others. Nobody knows what is the voice, but we need to vote on the voice and approve the voice. And at the same tactics of frightening people, scaring people, intimidating people, bullying people, that was followed by the same government, the same political parties, Labour and the Greens, in the last plebiscite about same-sex marriage, are exercised and practiced this time also. If you don't agree, the last time we were told that if you don't pass the plebiscite, you are against you are homophobes, you are against you are calling for violence on the gays and lesbians. You are trying to exterminate them. The same now. If you don't agree on the voice, if you don't pass the voice, if you don't vote yes to the voice, you are participating in exterminating the indigenous people, killing the indigenous people and others. When in fact until now there is no debate. There is no debate. The Albanese is not leading a debate. He is leading in bullying campaigns and frightening or campaign to frighten people and turn people against each other. If you are against the voice, you are against the indigenous people. You are not progressive. You are in fact trying to kill the indigenous people. And this is not a political debate. In political debate, we need to know what is the voice and all the details about the voice. Until now, everything is in the air. We don't know anything here, and this is why we are against the voice. From day one, I and a lot of other people in our communities had said no to the voice, and we will start leading a network of multicultural voices and religious voices and other against the voice, saying no to the voice, because we now have all indications, all signs that this voice will be used as platform to further destroy Australia, to further divide Australia, and and this platform will be abused by Labour Greens to achieve the deep states agendas of mainly destroying Australia and dividing Australia. Here we ask the questions from the beginning. If the voice will has no jurisdiction powers, if the voice will not be able to enforce the government of the day to take actions, but it is just an advisory group. An advisory group does not need a referendum. A government can tomorrow appoint an advisory group. Advisory group in multiculturalism. There is advisory group on women's rights. There is the advisory group on workers' rights. There is advisory group on a lot of other issues. So why do we need to go to the referendum? A referendum that all signs saying that this referendum will further divide Australians, will further spread hate inside Australia, will further turn Australians against each other, and will achieve nothing, because at the end, even if we will have a voice, it will have no jurisdiction power, and it cannot enforce the government to take actions here or there, just advisory. An advisory group does not need a referendum. We don't need to waste millions of dollars, and now we know that businesses and other hidden forces already donated millions of dollars to the Labour government to lead the Yes campaign. And so there will be hundreds of millions of dollars, or millions of dollars at least, wasted to divide Australians and to turn Australians against each other. Well, who needs this? Why do we need a referendum that will come up with an advisory group with no power, no jurisdiction power, and no actual power? It just needs to create such voice. It just needs a legislation, and the liberals are saying now. Liberals are saying we will agree on any legislation in the parliament to create an advisory group called The Voice. So why do we need a referendum? And this is a big question that needs to be addressed and answered by the Yes campaign. Why do we need a referendum if the government and the opposition can come up now with a legislation that will enshrine or establish an advisory group on indigenous rights, indigenous people? Again, the Albanese lies to the. I can't imagine that such a prime minister that goes to this cheap lies, that he's standing up and saying the Liberal Party and anyone who will lead the no vote is against the indigenous people and indigenous people rights. I and a lot of Australians, most of Australians, support the indigenous rights and support the indigenous recognition in the constitution as the historical and first custodian of this land, and acknowledge the suffering of the indigenous people and the need to relieve this suffering by practical measures. But we support the indigenous people more than Albanese and the Greens, more. But we are against the voice, because the voice meaning that in the constitution we give the government a green light to establish a platform that we don't know how it will be established, what is the role of this established group or voice, and what destructive agendas will be passed under the pretext of supporting the indigenous people. It is very clear from the desperation of Albanese and Labour and the Greens to bully and scare everyone to vote for yes for the voice, that they have deep destructive agendas. And in the last 5 years, the Labour and the Greens has of course the Liberals with them, but the Liberals to lesser extent, by the way, and I talked about this before, but the Labour and the Greens are the hardcore conspiracists that led Australia to total destruction. The total destruction we are seeing now, with all this skyrocketing inflation, debt, and the expected financial collapse, which could happen any minute now. Now we start to know what is the deep agenda of the labor to establish the voice. The voice which will be used as a pretext to confiscate farmlands and to declare environmental lockdowns and restrictions, and then destroy farms and end the food security this country enjoyed for the last century. This is under the pretext of we will protect the voice told us that in order to protect the indigenous heritage, the indigenous land, the indigenous whatever, we need to confiscate these farmlands and stop farming in these areas. We need to stop mining in these areas. We need to declare environment or to declare lockdowns and restrictions in this area to protect the indigenous environment, the indigenous heritage, the indigenous lands or whatever. This is another in combination with the climate hoax that the Labour and the Greens are leading. This will be combined with the voice so that the destruction will be total. The core ideas of the New World Order to destroy the food security, enslave people, and then which will enable the deep state to enslave people through digital financial system. This is not conspiracy. They branded us as conspiracies, but now we know that the ANZ Bank and all other 4 banks are banning cash from branches and encouraging the digitalization of the banking system. And this is the first step so that the banking system will come and say, we don't need dollars, we don't need the notes and cash money. We just go in through the digital dollar, which is now under trial. And the central bank announced that they are trialing the digital dollar. This is the New World Order. And if we combine this with the destruction of the Australian economy through 2 years of lockdowns and restriction, which destroyed our economy, caused all this inflation, workers shortages, and a collapse of manufacturing sector, and leading now also to the housing crisis, which is, we don't have a housing crisis, by the way. The latest report indicates that 1/3 of the housing sector is off the market. They are enforcing a rental crisis so that the financial collapse will be total, will be destructive to the point that we cannot resist the slavery system they are preparing for all of us. So the voice, I support the indigenous people, I support the indigenous recognition in the constitution, I support the compensation of the indigenous people, I support all kind of raising the indigenous issues and awareness about the indigenous issues, including first indigenous person prime minister. This is how you can raise the issue of the indigenous people. Give them power through the parliament, not through unelected platform that will be used to serve the politicians in Canberra. This is what Peter Dutton, and for the first time I agree with Peter Dutton. This is a platform that will be used by Canberra politicians to destroy our society and destroy our democracy, using using the referendum, saying, here we have the mandate, we have constitutional mandate to oppress you in the name of defending the indigenous people, when in fact indigenous people until now, most of them are living under poverty, and the lifespan is shorter than the general population, and they are living in very bad conditions. This voice will not help them to improve the lifespan of the indigenous people, or to improve the employment situation, or to improve their participation in wealth. The best things to do is empower them into the parliament. The Minsk government in New South Wales, they are proud that 50% of the ministers are women. They are not proud that half of these are indigenous, or people with disability, or people who whatever, all these marginalized groups. You can't solve the problem of indigenous people by talking like The Voice. This voice will be used as a pretext to destroy Australia in the name of protecting the indigenous. And then a lot of Australians will start to hate indigenous people, because in your name they destroyed our food security, they destroyed our farmlands, they destroyed our businesses, and they destroyed our civil rights. And this is why and this voice and all this argument from the government that they are protecting the indigenous people, the indigenous land, the indigenous culture, the indigenous things, they will declare emergency after emergency to reduce the nitrogen emission, emergency to reduce the carbon emission, the emergency to reduce the whatever. And under this pretext, we will wake up to the catastrophe, the new catastrophe Labour and the Greens are leading us to. The Albanese lies about the overwhelming support to the Voice is utter lies, not only lies even by their own admission, because according to their opinion polls, only 50% of Australians support the recognition of indigenous people, not The Voice. The question was not about The Voice. Do you support The Voice? Do you support indigenous recognition? And I said people support indigenous recognition in the constitution are more than 50% or 55%. But if the question was support for The Voice, it will be less than 50%. And 50% or 60% is not enough to pass any referendum. The referendum needs 2/3 of the population. This is far beyond the reach of the Labour and the Greens. And the Albanese lies about the widespread support from ethnic communities, from religious communities, from from the liberal supporters. This is a big lie. The Voice is not even popular among Labour and the Greens supporters. And to defeat this referendum, we are now forming an alliance, a network of alliance for no votes from religious groups, from ethnic groups, and conservative groups that have deep concerns about the destructive agenda of the Labour in this referendum. At the moment, we are promising everyone that we will lead and we will participate actively in the no campaign to abort the destructive agenda of the Labour Greens.